I don't know that you knew Kobe or knew him well or knew him at all, but you have a different perspective on this, having lived the life you lived and the life he lived. Tell me about that.
No, I did not know Kobe. I never even met Kobe.
Yeah.
But I do understand what he represented to people.
Yeah.
And I think he represented aspiration. I think he represented somebody who was reaching out to try to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
And I think that he also, in this current, in his demise, he reminded people of how tragedy can strike any of us at any time.
Right.
And how vulnerable we are,
Yeah.
and how fragile life is.
Yeah.
And so I think his death had high symbolic importance, whether you knew about the pick and roll or didn't know about the pick and roll.
He's a hell of a basketball player, wasn't he?
Not bad, I must say.
Not bad.
Wait a minute. I remember my last game, my first game with the Knicks. I hit a jumper on the left baseline at 15 feet against Detroit. My last game with the Knicks, I hit a jumper on the left baseline about 15 feet against Detroit. However,
Seriously?
yeah, seriously. But those were, I think, the only 2 points I scored in my last game. Kobe scored, what, 60 points in his last game?
Yeah.
That'll never happen again.
Yeah, well, the idea of somebody who is that superlative in every aspect of the game, it doesn't happen hardly ever.
And
that's,
you mentioned the sports thing, and I think, the issue is, what do we share as Americans? There is no kind of, we're not required to share anything with our neighbors. And everybody of all races, of all education levels, used to be, there was a draft, right? You shared something, you got to know people.
Used to be everybody read the newspaper.
And you're not, and that's not happening today.
Yeah. So sports is a public square of sorts, right? Everybody comes together.
We seem to have forgotten the basic lesson of sports, which is we either all advance together or each of us is diminished.
Yeah.
We cannot live as individuals and as a country. We have to live as a country, a community that understands we either all advance together or each of us is diminished. And, that's not happening. I mean, there are some great churches in America where people feel that community sense. You go to a rock concert, everybody sings Piano Man with Billy Joel or Hungry Heart with Bruce Springsteen. You feel like you're part of it. You go to a sporting event. But where do we do this as citizens? Where do we serve our country together, regardless of race or gender or educational level? Where do we do that? We don't have that place right now.
What happened? Where was the inflection point where it changed? Because there was a time when that was more likely to be the case than now.
I don't think there's any one inflection point. I think this is what's evolved over time. And it's something that each of us have a responsibility to get back. This morning, for example, I was talking to young people, and they asked the question about how do we knit back the community?
Yeah.
And I said, well, when was the last time you had a conversation with somebody of a different race? When was the last time you talked to an unemployed worker? When was the last time you talked to somebody different than you? Unless we can reach out, talk at a human level and understand people that are different than us, we're not going to put the things back together again.